Holidays. Welcome to the last year, everybody. Meeting of the year. I'm Dr. Harris, Chair, Year's Air Commission. Um, thank you all for being here this evening. Um, Tonight's agenda will be filled with presentation from Recreation Parks, along with two zoning cases, and then we have an election tonight to fill one of our boards. Don't know where the paper is, so I guess I memorize. We'll start with doing a roll call with Secretary Rice. If you call
Yes.
the roll.
Commissioner Benson, Chris here, Francisco, Frost, Cancer Humphrey,
Present.
Harris,
Present.
Hunt, no Hunt. Katz,
Present.
Clay Pass,
Here.
Lowenstein here, Rice on here, Wilbur
Here.
and Urowski.
Here.
All right. Given that we are all here, well, we have those that are here. I know that there are some that are on their way. Earlier this week, commissioners, you received the minutes from the December Community Engagement Committee meeting, December NEAC zoning site visits, November planning agenda in minutes, as well as November's general body minutes. Are there any questions or modifications that need to be made to said documents that we are sending? Saying that there are none, I will entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second, Chris. Moved by Rice, second by Chris. All those in favor of approval of minutes, please raise your hand. All those opposed and those abstaining. All right, so we have 9-0-1. Okay. All righty. So tonight we have tonight I'll invite our friends from Recreation and Parks up. We have Ms. Dawn, who is the Assistant Director of Parks and Rec, as well as Mr. Antonio, who is over the Center Without Walls. There it is. I'm right. There it is. And so they'll be giving a presentation tonight over the new Baby Teen Center. So I would like to invite them up at this time to to go over this presentation.
Should we sit here or we stand?
You can, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Go ahead. I'm gonna sit down. All nervous and everything, but
Could you state your name again, please?
yes, sir. My name is Antonio Gomes, and I am the the recreation coordinator with recreation area, and then also our job readiness program. Commissioners, and community representatives, today I come before you today and to introduce the new Beatty Teen Center. As you guys may know, Beatty caught fire in September of 2024. And so now we are reimagining how to repurpose the building, but still making sure that we program for our most vulnerable community and our young people, right? And so for us, it's just identifying, how do we re-engage within the community? Obviously, when there is fire to a building or to when a community resource is no longer there, it puts more stress, more efforts from other community partners. Obviously, the libraries, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and things like that. They are witnessing the uptick, or have been witnessing the uptick of community programming. And so today I kind of want to propose and show you all what the ideas are. Obviously, we're still in like that proposal phase, but at least wanted to start like the conversation as far as what some of the general ideas are and how we are going to reimagine. And then Nathan, if you could, you can
Yeah,
you
just tell
can,
me when to
you can go
advance.
ahead and go down to the sixth slide, please.
Oh, you can move that quick.
Yeah, like I'm moving quick. Actually, yeah, we'll go
right
ahead
there.
and stay there.
Okay.
And so as we are looking at like the building, our overall theme is empowering like our young people to believe, to build, and then to become. Like on what that basically means is we're looking at innovative programming. Right. More times than not, when you go to a local recreation center, what's taking place? Young people are going to like the gym. It's more of like an open format, right? There may be like some art classes, there may be like some after school, homework help, like and things like that, right? But specifically, we're looking at like the teenage population. Is there going to be opportunities for like the community to come in and utilize the building? 100%. But we're gonna have a primary focus on teenagers. When I say teenagers, I mean like like those tweens, right? 11 to about 8, 17. Right, that's the primary focus, and more so during like those afternoon hours, directly like after school into the early parts of like the evening. All right, and so again, how does this building kind of align with our CRPD mission statement, and then in our newly developed 10-year master plan? Right, we're focused on equity, youth engagement, wellness, and then our workforce development. One of the key aspects here is that as we're teaching, as we are building like our young people, the overarching theme is for teens by teens, right? And so we want the teenagers, our young people, to be the face, the voice of like the building, right? So when when you're entering into like the building, what's taking place? They're welcoming you there. They're showing you like the rooms. They are. We have our workforce development program, our job readiness program, right? And so now our young people, they're able to not only participate in programming, but now this is an opportunity for them to earn funds or to earn money as they are recreating, and now like they are earning and learning those basic skills, right? And so as you're going down to like the next slide, Nathan, kind of see like a design and like layout, right? And so some of like the key components. Yes, we're gonna still having like the gym area. We're gonna have a more emphasis on like the fitness, right? Especially for a lot of like our athletes, right? And so yes, redoing like the gym floor, having like a turf field on the inside for your specific sport training, speed and agility, plyometrics, like and things like that. We're also going to have state-of-the-art fitness room. We've done countless surveys from like our young people that are city leaders program, and then are also like our job readiness program. And what was the number one thing that they wanted in like a recreation center? I just want a place to hang out. I want a place to where I can charge like my electronic like devices. I need a place to where I can game. So in one of the rooms there, it is like our team lounge, right? Esports. We're also having smart boards, and then also a place again just for them like to hang out. One of the cool things here is also is like we want to tap into like the overall community and tap into being a creative. Obviously, like we know, like this particular area is enriched with the creative space, right? And so for us, it's all right, cool. Well, how do we have like a maker space? How do we teach like those entrepreneurial skills? So now it's like almost like a consignment shop. So now they're making their t-shirts, they're making like their hats, they're making like some of these different items. And now how are they able to not necessarily build like a business, but learn like those aspects, to learn, develop, like and grow. Uh, um, like another key area here is again through all like the surveys is, hey, they have special interests. Well, what if I don't have like the funds to get like a haircut? Hey, what if I want to get my hair braided? Maybe you know what? Maybe like something like this self-care. Maybe I want to paint like my nails. Right? Are there opportunities for me to learn to grow in like these particular areas? Right? Ideas again is how are we programming specifically for like our young people, right? And so I'm like again podcasting. Not only is it just like podcasting, but are there opportunities to further develop communication skills? Right? We see a lot of times, a lot of like our young people, what are they doing? They are recording everything. Well, how do we record and put it like to good use? how do we say, hey, let's talk about certain topics like that matter most to you, and then how do we spin it to be more of like a positive light? Uh, um, so on the first floor is predominantly going to be a lot like our programming. Second floor is where we'll have a lot of like our staff offices. Our readiness program and the programming teams will be kind of housed in that particular building. There'll also be like some space for our interventionist team. Again, like our neighborhood violence reroute. They'll also have like the opportunity to bring participants inside this building to model like the behavior or to model like the positive behaviors and to create like a new normal for like those young people. As I'm kind of looking through, again, teen room, teen store, podcasting lounge, multi-purpose use for specialized training, an outside courtyard. I call that the outside oasis. Murals, running water, barbecue area, pit area. Again, places for like our young people like to hang out in a safe place. And then obviously the fitness room and the turf fields in like the gymnasium. Again, the overall motto here, Nathan, we can go to the next slide, is just for teams by teams. This is a community amenity, right? We want not only for like the Beatty community like to utilize like the building. However, this is a amenity for like the whole city, right? So again, creating like those safe zones, creating opportunity for all teenagers from all around like the city to come and utilize like the building, right? Again, we are restoring equitable access to and for like this community resource. And then two is why does this particular area, this particular community center matter? Safety, health, education, career opportunities, and then the social and equitable opportunities there, right? All of these things play like a key role in like what we're doing. We're offering award-winning programming. Our job readiness program is an award-winning program. How are we developing like our young people? That I can't stress that aspect like enough. Right? Is because we have to pour into like our enterprise because they are like the future. Right? And so as we are again developing programming, reaching out to like community partners, looking at how do we, and we had a meeting today, how are we not only reimagining like what the building is and how like it flows and like operates, but how not losing those ties to like the historical aspects like as well. Right? Because again, we want our young people to know like, hey, well, this is like your community now, but how are you changing and like developing like yourself? So now you're having like that lasting imprint like as well too. But other than that, we do have like some proposed hours. Again, community hours will be morning, early afternoon, with the afternoons being primarily more geared for like our teens, right? Or maybe are be opportunities for like families to come in and do like some joint programming like together, or on like Saturday mornings, early like afternoons. Nathan, I'm sorry, next slide. And then obviously like our year-round like events during like the summertime, not necessarily running like some like your typical recreational summer camps, right? But there are potentially like some ideas to run like a summer camp aspect, right? Again, not shutting out like the community at all. It's still being used, but then too again developing like our young people housing like the job readiness program in those particular areas. Hopefully that was like a very quick snapshot of what this new Beatty Team Center is and could potentially be. I don't know if this is appropriate like or not. Please stop me. But if there are any questions, I'll be happy to kind of answer those. And if I don't know the answer, I'll tag it like my partner over there, Ms. Don Turner. Yes, ma'am.
So I do have a question, and it might be more appropriate from an overarching kind of holistic perspective. You know, if we're looking at just the Near East side, so we've got the reimagination of Beatty, we've got the Fran Ryan Center, we've got Blackburn. Is Parks and Rec determining how all of these centers can kind of come together to offer all of the Near East area residents the things? Because it feels like Fran Ryan is really focused on seniors, Beatty is going to have a focus on teens, but for teens to cross and get to Beatty who live over by Blackburn, that's tough, right? Like, Broad Street is a scary place. and especially in the wintertime after dark. So can you help me understand kind of what your overarching holistic approach to all of these different resources we have is?
I can take some of that back to Director Reese. However, I can speak to the fact that one of the things that we are definitely working with is starting to have conversations with, is our city as far as the zoning, as far as the safety zoning. And even in our meeting today, we want to create, safety zone spaces, for individuals to feel that comfort of walking, however they do get there, because we do know that there's no bus stop there. And so also in our program, for our job readiness program, which would be one of our main programs that are housed there, we do provide them transportation as well. So we are having a program in which some transportation, it may be minimum, but we do the best to get everyone there. We will provide transportation at least to the Beatty Center. And that's what I mean when I said part of that I will have to take back and then respond as far as the rest of it.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, a lot of the programming you talked about sounded great. What sounds the best about it is it's sort of the opposite of school. You know, particularly for the boys, from what I've read, I don't have a teenager now, they won't grown up, but it's like, from what I've read, the biggest problem we have with, particularly with boys, but not only the boys, is they need more unstructured time than they get at school. You know, and that's why so many of them don't even want to go. I mean, attendance is not great. So there's a reason for that, but giving them choices of what to select to do with the time and things that would be exciting and interesting to them, that's like the best thing we can do if we're not public schools.
Right.
So I would just say a lot of what you talked about sounded really good from that perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. You'll be glad to know that in the planning that we have been in, when he talked about the surveys that we use, we have had youth at the table at almost every meeting that we've had. And these youth are individuals who participated not only in our job program, but other programs throughout recreation and parks.
I wasn't trying to trash the public schools. I was just saying they're under like all of these guidelines. They have to deliver this very structured material, you know, for the entire time that the kids at school. And it's just like, you know, that's really what the problem is. It's not like the schools themselves, but it's the, you know, the rules they operate under, but you don't operate under those rules. You could do something different.
Right. Thank you.
Just, this is not meant to be in poor taste, it's just a real logistical question. You mentioned in the outdoor oasis, which I love, it's very great, love what you call it too, that there would maybe be a barbecue pit with real fire,
So that part would be, that part would definitely be supervised by an adult. The Oasis, the furniture that we were even looking at is also a game piece itself. So you can actually play games as well as utilize that as a piece of furniture at the same time. And if there's something special going on, then we would bring, because we will also have a teaching kitchen per se. We won't have a certified commercial kitchen, but we'll have opportunity for the basic skills of teaching that was also something that our youth have provided. Like, they just want to know the basics, like, you know, how you boil water basically, or, you know, utilize some of the things that they could service themselves while they're.
I may have, this is, when do you expect Beatty to open?
Fall of 26.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Beatty in this community has historically been known for boxing. Are you bringing that back, or that program is done with?
So boxing will not be housed like at Beatty. We will have like the heavy bags and like speed bags, but not an actual boxing ring and like the boxing program. We are looking at not taking like the historical aspect out of like the building. So still, you know, they have the like the Hall of Fame there. So it's still making mention of how do we keep the historical context of like the building still intact. But there are 5 other boxing centers that are still within CRPD's inventory or CRPD centers. Yes, ma'am.
I guess I got a few questions. And I don't know where to begin, and I don't, want to come off offensive either. But, Beatty was where I worked, and I've been without a job since I ain't gonna say without a job, but out of my comfort zone since, it had the fire.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of the things that worked at Beatty when I was there was the kids cooking. I did that class on Fridays. They cook, I just assist. They like a warm meal. Is that going to be implemented anywhere, as it relates to feeding them after school?
100%. I've also ran programming like out of Beatty, and that's one of the top priorities, right? Yes, there's the CHA, like the shelf stable meals, like and things like that, but they want hot food, right? And so that aspect, I'm like, we'll be back in like the building. And having like our team store, having like the demonstration kitchen, it may not be like an everyday thing, right? But at the same time, are we thinking about healthy, nutritious meals, hot meals, and things like that? 100% we are.
And what about the art room?
Mhm.
Because when I did art there, the art room was filled with kids, so I didn't hear you kind of mention
Yeah.
that the art room was full.
Yep. So our programming is in like the makeup, in like the maker space, in like our normal programming in like class schedule. Because again, it's just not only about like the athletics and like the strength training and like and things like that, right? But it's also into how are we developing, painting, drawing, theater, actually, right? And so all of like those creative aspects will be in like the programming schedule on a session basis.
If I may add to that, so it's still we like taking makerspace, put a little fancier name on the art room itself, because there will be other aspects to it that you can get introduced to or even practice.
Two more. The outside oasis, are you putting a awning out there? Cause you're talking about the square in the middle, that's the outside oasis.
The courtyard, yes, ma'am.
So are you putting something to protect them from the elements?
No.
Okay, so you just gonna leave it? Okay.
Just leave it open.
And the, other thing what's the hours of operation?
So like the proposed, if you go to like the next slide, I'm sorry, go down 2 slides. I'm sorry. Yeah, right there. So like the proposed hours, will still be like Monday through Friday. I'm sorry, during the week, Monday through Friday. And so we're looking at an 8 a.m. to an 8 p.m. Because again, we still want to be in alignment with all of our other community centers, having like those early hours in the afternoons. Primarily like the teen hours will be around like that 2 o'clock, 2:30 time frame when high school, middle school gets out of school. And then we'll have like those family hours on Saturday, basically from like that 8 a.m., 9 a.m. to like 1, or sorry, what I have here, 12 o'clock p.m. And then obviously after that is more of just an open time until the building closes.
One more, this is it. From a grassroots standpoint, I see it all the time, seen it all the time with working with the kids at Beatty or just the kids in that community. If they are suspended from school and they gotta get out the house or something of that nature, they generally go to the library. Would Beatty be a safe space for them? And if so, how would you relate that to the workers? Because imagine I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, right? And I've seen, workers not allow kids in until after school. And me, I just think, hey, let them come in as long as they cool and just a safe space. So I'm not in the business of turning kids away. So how do we convey that or communicate that to the senior staff that you will hire?
Gotcha. And so I don't have like a direct answer for that, because I think that there is an opportunity for like a conversation there, right? Because obviously, if they are out of school, you know, they could be doing something else, right? Roaming the neighborhood, just doing like whatever it is, right? I'm in agreement with you as far as having like that safe space. Hey, they're out of trouble. They're in some type of adult supervision. I'm looking at things like that. But at this moment, I don't have like a direct answer of whether we or how we're gonna play left that line of we're gonna not allow them in the building or if we're gonna allow them in. I mean, I may defer to assistant director.
Yeah, the conversation has come about. Nothing is set in stone yet, but as he mentioned, we do have another part of our youth development, which is our reroute team, and those are the adults and the teams that work with those particular youth. And so we're looking at right now is how do we include some sort of programming that they could possibly add, because right now our reroute team, they go to the community, to the schools themselves. So in doing so, that is part of our planning process of what will we do, how could our reroute team play a part in that particular aspect.
I'll ask one question. And so when it comes to the programmatic aspects, are you all inviting other providers to help to run said spaces, or is it all just falling?
No, it's
under
not
the-
all that we can't do it by ourselves. We need everybody that involved. Definitely, we don't have all of the expertise or the skills. Yes, we do have the programming. Like he mentioned, yes, our program has won awards in the past 2 years. However, no, we definitely are going to be looking out an opportunity for our community that are, registered with the city, if it's going to be a paid proposal, and if there's anything beyond, like for example, the esports, we will have to put a bid out for that because it's on a different level. But other than that, we are looking at the partnerships.
Wonderful. I have a call for proposals at some point. Okay. And please do share that with us, and we'll do our part to share that out as well.
Yes.
Are there any questions from those in the gallery that you'd like to present? All right. Well, thank you both for coming tonight, and Tony for giving tonight's presentation. We're looking forward to fall 2026, or whenever that date might be. Please do invite us out for ribbon cutting or whatever it might be. And we look forward to getting Baby back online.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for having us. I'd like to leave you with this as well. Save your mark your calendars for 2028 in the month of September. We will have the National Recreation and Parks has selected Columbus to be the host city of that. So our goal, because is for Beatty to be one of the locations that is part of the conference.
wonderful. So 2028.
28, they're bringing we were just in Florida, so, and then next year we're in Texas, so we'll be here in Columbus in 28.
Fantastic.
Sorry, October.
October.
28th.
So we don't have the actual dates yet, but
Yeah.
definitely we'll let you know. We just want to let you know that the National Recreation is on their way.
That's major. Look at Columbus getting all these major events coming. Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
All righty. Now we're moving on to announcements and public comments. Are there any announcements from commissioners or those in the community engagement committee that you'd like to share at this time? No announcements. Well, I guess I'll announce one thing. I want to thank all of you and all neighbors for, and especially, well, Casey just walked out the room, but for donating items for the food drive. Half of those items were already taken to Legacy Point to fill up their food closet, thanks to Commissioner Marlene. Yeah, thank you, Candace, for kind of raising that. And I think the people definitely responded, in good numbers, and there's quite a bit still left that Mr. Cooper will take, tomorrow to our Central Community House, which is in y'all's district. So there that is. There are no announcements from, city council at this time, that I was made privy to. So now we'll have, Mr. Ovalle, come and share any announcements he might have.
Very good, commissioners, community members, this is Olaya with the Department of Neighborhoods. Just two quick announcements. I did print out some out, but I happen to send it out through email. The winter warming centers are on and about, open up until March 31st of 2026. So we have the shelters, and then we also have the libraries as well as the rec center. So I'll send that out. And we have some printed copies out here as well. Just great to share and distribute to the community. I also did want to mention, this is our second year of Coffee and Conversations. It's something that we did, obviously, in partnership with Dana and PAC and Mercedes with, spoken called social workers. So we've had 2 years under our belt, and we're definitely thankful for the community's response as well as the commissioners for attending. Moving forward, we're definitely excited for the next year. If you have any ideas or any projects or whatever that you think would be beneficial to support, have as keynote speakers, please let us know. That's usually the fourth Friday of every month at 10 o'clock here in the same room. Again, it's just an opportunity to kind of just share ideas, share resources and network. So the calendar, the invite for the next one, which would be January 23rd, will be sent out probably at the beginning of the year for the commissioners for the trainings for 2026. That'll probably come out mid-January, give or take. So working with other city departments to finalize that training for you all. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any, announcements, from those in the gallery? If you, please do share, and please, state your name and affiliation for the record.
Hi, my name is Scott Kaplan. I'm a resident and I'm the vice president of the Woodland Park Neighborhood Association. That is my son laughing, he saw it. I grew up in a strongly medical family, and one of the things that we used to talk around the kitchen table was that people would always come to my parents and relatives when they were sick, when they were broken, when they were sad and drippy, and write prescriptions and listen to people and take care of them. And people would go away and get better, and they'd never come back and say, "Hey, I'm feeling great. I want to say thank you." I wanted to do that for this organization because I've come before you and the community a couple of times with a series of issues where we've been sort of broken and drippy, and we've come to you, and you've been wonderfully responsive. And I think that you need to hear the positive feedback from communities when you have significant beneficial impacts on us. And so I wanted to say that I was really appreciative of the responsiveness of everybody, and that the positive consequences that Home Board is attempting to possibly schedule meetings with the community to have conversations in advance of bringing it to here for review. So that seems great. And some other developers are actually coming to the community first rather than doing it the opposite way, which seems like a really progressive thing that's happened. If it is possible moving forward, if we could have, we've had some changeover in Woodland Park. If we could get a little bit more notification on certain projects, like Maryland is a big 200 unit something, and they didn't come to us, and we didn't know much about them. And Commissioner Bob came and told us about what was going on in Nelson. They didn't come and speak with us, so that was sort of notification. But also, thanks to all of you and Commissioner Lowenstein specifically, announcements were made about the rezoning, the zone-in of Taylor Avenue. And I was able to go to speak to City Council and Councilmember Doran, and with Mr. Weingard's help, we were able to amend that, and they're not going to up the zoning to H2, they're going to keep it H1, which is far more in alignment, again, a function of your announcements and things that you have made us aware of. So I wanted to just extend neighborhood appreciation for the efforts that you're put forward and the things that are happening as a result. So thank you for you.
Thank you. might inquire who's developing and still review the property on there?
You can tell.
I don't think I remember,
It's the one that you, well.
I must have seen it.
Yeah.
It's one that you-
It must have been a while.
It's a while.
Thank you again.
It changed developers.
Okay.
It's been probably two,
I think it was
a
enough.
year and a half since the last time it was here.
No, but the rehab of the, or something about
The one vacant was Woodland.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
they're out. And it's under construction. Alright.
All right.
I hear you, I was ignorant.
Well, thank you, Scott, for that. All right, given that there are, no more, announcements, well, I guess there's one. City council, it was city council, who we've been talking to at the Senate deadline for us to give a letter of support, Luis Saba, something like that, in regards to what Scott was just talking. But, they've extended their deadline,
I was gonna say something about that actually at the zoning check,
Well,
but feel free,
No,
we're already.
no, let's keep going, we'll keep
Oh,
going.
okay.
So, we'll go on to, planning, with Commissioner Rice.
All right, on a week from today, we have two items on the agenda. One is 1351 East Fulton. They're to build a duplex, and the developer for 1562 Richmond has asked for a conceptual review. This is the first time the conceptual review has come from the city. It's actually coming from the developer, so they've asked to come before the planning committee and present their proposed project for that parcel on Richmond Avenue. That's it.
All right, thank you so much. Now we'll move on to zoning, with Commissioner Lowenstein.
Before we hear the two cases, I will bring up two matters on which we, I, but also others here have spent a little time. One being the one the chair was just referring to, which is the second phase of the redevelopment of the zoning plan for the city of Columbus. We submitted comments to the city. I hope anyone who's interested in land use issues in our neighborhood takes a look at the city's plan and the proposed map. And I believe I circulated that to some people on the committee. I don't remember if I circulated to everyone, but in any case, as the chair just pointed out, comments were supposed to have been in by the end of November, and they were talking about voting on it in December, which I thought was rather quick, but now they've extended the deadline for comment and extended the time that they're going to take to come to a decision on that. The other matter is that, and so I will say, you know, we reached out to the two parts of our jurisdiction that are most impacted by the change in the zoning map, and that is Bronzeville and Woodland Park. So we reached out to both civic associations, drawing their attention to the rather significant intensity of increase in intensity that would be allowed in developing parts of their neighborhoods. And Woodland Park, as you just heard, was able to make comments. I'm not sure if Bronzeville had, but you know, we submitted our own comments suggesting, especially toning down that intensity in certain locations. So that's that. The other issue had to do once again with short-term rentals. This is no longer Councilman Doran's issue. It instead was has been picked up by Remy, yeah, Councilman Remy had it, and they just held a hearing, the other night, Tuesday night, on this, and it was not well attended. I was a bit surprised. You may recall that a year and a half ago, 4 or 5 commissions, we kind of organized that. 4 or 5 commissions went and met with Councilman Dorans to make our case for greater regulation of the short-term rental industry in Columbus. And Councilman Dorans really, he heard us, but it was pretty clear he wasn't likely to do much with it, and indeed nothing that I've seen had happened in the intervening time. And now Councilman Remy has picked it up. I testified for the commission, sort of. I mean, we hadn't discussed the issue and taken a position, but I kind of assumed our views on it hadn't necessarily changed, which is to say, we're interested in there being some degree of control over how many short-term rental units would be licensed within a certain area, whether it was by neighborhood, zip code, block face, or whatever, because currently there's no restriction on that. And the other one having to do with the lack of the city inspecting these places and determining that they're safe based on fire codes and housing codes and so forth. And I have to say, came away from giving that testimony. It was all very courteous, but I don't think they're going in that direction at all, frankly. And the one thing we may see out of it is a notice provision to surrounding owners. There was also some interesting testimony, and I'm going to quit here in just a second, which is that although there are about 1,600 short-term rental units licensed in the city of Columbus, comment was made that there's probably that many again that are not even regulated, not even licensed. So we already knew that was true, that people are opening these up and not even going through the city process to license them. So, and the licensing is mostly about investigating the operator. It's not really about much more than that, right? And so they have a process in place for that, to make sure the people who are operating these things are legit, but that's kind of what's going on with that. I just wanted you to know that I had testified and submitted written testimony as well on that.
I had sent over the short-term rental agreement or a document from 2 years ago to your offices.
Did you as well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Just giving you an update on that. Let's move into our zoning agenda this evening. The first case up is 533 North Nelson. And while I was running my mouth there, this information was handed out, so we should be ready to go. Keep in mind, applicant, that there are possibly people at the table here who don't know anything about this yet, but I think probably we do, because you were here before, if I'm not mistaken. Were you at general body, or you just went to
No, I
planning
was
and
at the
zoning?
planning and zoning.
Okay,
commission.
so there are a couple of people who are on community engagement who may not have heard anything about this before. So update us. The agenda lists all the variances that you asked for originally, so you'll need to quickly explain what things are still live matters for the commission to review.
I'm Jeff Brown with Smith and Hale. In 2018, I was in front of the commission for this facility. We needed a special permit for a recycling center and a series of variances. And as part of that process, the city made us commit to a site plan, which is not unusual for this type of use. And so from 2018 to 2025, their business has continued to grow there. They've been very successful. They actually have a lot of business from the local community in terms of the recycling aspects of this. So if you look, the original first photograph shows the existing condition. When we did this in 2018, the Amazon parking lot, which is to the left, was a Sears warehouse facility. And so that's the change. And when I was here initially with the planning and zoning, they pointed out a few things that my client was derelict in. One was maintaining the fence and the screening. And so 2 and 3 show the screening, the fencing, the green mesh and everything has been, renovated and everything and is back intact. And we also planted some additional, bushes there that are shown in that picture. And so they were cited by code enforcement. It seems these recycling centers are a favorite target. So they came out there and they were cited for a bunch of things. The fence and gate damage, that's been taken care of. The pile height at the northeast corner, it's limited to 10 feet. But we had some materials that were within 10 feet of the fence, that's been cleaned up. Tires have been removed from the site. And then the rest of those issues dealt with the site plan in terms of what happens is the city code inspector comes out with a site plan, and if the parking spaces are off or if the dumpster is in the wrong location, you get cited for non-compliance. And so that's what happened to us with that. And also at one time they had some inoperable vehicles on that property, and all those things have been removed from that site. So when you get down to the site plan, this is an updated site plan that addresses all the issues that the city code enforcement came out and said, your old plan doesn't match what's on the site. So now we have something that matches what was on the site. The planning and zoning group asked us to go talk to our neighbors, and we have letters from the daycare and then from the multifamily development across the street. We were actually approved in 18, and then the multifam came in later with their rezoning and everything. And so what we're really doing now is the city, from a historical perspective, always asks that if you've got previous variances, that everything gets repeated so that when they pull up the board order in 2025, everything is there. So the things that we're asking for this time around is that a scale was installed, and that's the picture of here. It's inside the fence, and so they have a scale and they have a scale house, which you can see at the end of that. So we are asking for that to be where it is. It's behind the screen. And then the second thing is originally we asked to increase the pile height for 30, and that was poorly received, and I understand that. We have now, I kind of suggested to the committee, what are you comfortable with? And they said, no, this is your case, you make a suggestion. So I suggested 15 feet. And I think when we did the on-site, we had the manager there for the business. And she says, they try to keep it at 10 feet, but if they have some issues with the crane, if that goes down, or they can't get enough of the trucks in to remove it, it sometimes exceeds more than 10 feet. So we were asking to have it at 15, would give us a little bit more flexibility, because what they want to do is get the product there, get it separated, and then ship it out. They don't make any money if the stuff is just sitting on their property. So their incentive is to get it off to the property. And so a couple people suggested at the on-site and the planning that there's some other fast-growing trees or arborvitae that we could put in there that would do a better job. If you look at the arrow, if you've driven by, we've got some big evergreens. Unfortunately, I don't know whether they died or whatever, it's not a constant screen. And so what we've suggested, if the commission is comfortable with doing the 15 feet, we've got a new spec plant, 6 to 8 foot tall, jolly green, that's truly their name, arborvitae or equivalent beginning at the north side of the entrance driveway to the north property line, 6 feet apart, except in areas where the existing evergreens are at least 6 feet in height. We don't want to pull out the substantial stuff there. So that is our suggestion, that is what our request, but basically at the end of the day, we've cleaned up the issues that the code enforcement people have cited other than updating the site plan, and so we're going through that process with you to be able to update the site plan. And the 2 new variances we're asking is for the scale, which is behind the fence, and I think the committee saw where that is and didn't have an issue with that. And then I'm proposing that we ask for an increase from 10 to 15 with the condition in terms of this landscaping spec.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to make a comment before we take comments from the rest the agenda only reflects the vote on the height of the pile, does not reflect the fact that unanimously the location of the scale. So
And the scale house.
Huh?
And the scale house.
And the scale house. So that is all, that was voted on favorably by the zoning committee because it's too close to the right-of-way line as it now is. So it needs that variance. And so what I'm gonna do after comments are done, we're gonna separate the vote by each variance. So one was controversial and one was not. All right, so I want you to understand both things and stay on the agenda. So, the reason, I'll just make this comment and then open it up. The reason that we kind of got into this conversation about maybe going to 15 feet if they increase the landscaping, frankly, my view on it was, you know, neither the commission nor anyone else is gonna really have that much control over how high this pile becomes. You know, like, yeah, sure, they got cited by code enforcement, but is code enforcement gonna come out there and look at this every week? No, they're not. So I think the height of the pile is gonna vary over time, right? It's gonna go up, it's gonna come down, whatever. But if we can get more landscaping in, that's a win, right? That's the way I was looking at it. So that's why I was entertaining the idea of making the deal, sort of a simple comment. Got head shaking, no, but okay. So that's what's going on in my opinion with that one. So who would like to comment on this? Go ahead.
The vice chair has a contrary opinion
I understand that.
to that, and so I offer it up to the commission, which is, the only reason this owner is here is because of code enforcement. Like, they would not have been here if it weren't for code enforcement. And this tile going above the fence height is a safety concern. The manager told us the way that they move the pile around is they have, a bobcat and they literally are pushing it towards the fence in order to get the height up. It's so, I understand where Commissioner Lowenstein is coming from, but the reality is when we drive by and we see it over the fence, we all are empowered to do 311 and have code enforcement come and take a look at it. And I don't think, in order to have these trees that are being promised, they're going to have to be maintained. And if they didn't maintain the property to the point where they did need code enforcement, why do we think that the trees are gonna be maintained? There's, to me, it just doesn't feel like a true one-for-one that we're gonna make a concession to safety for the sake of maybe having some trees that live 2 years from now.
Okay, who else would like to speak to this matter?
Yeah.
Commissioner.
I was just kind of wondering why they can't get a wall this tall. Because, I mean, but they said the business has been successful since 2018, so, cause it's an eyesore. So I'm proposing a wall, cause I don't think the trees is gonna do it. I don't think that fixes it.
Ms. Brown, do you want to comment on that?
We did look at that initially. We talked to the engineer, and the problem is you have a whole nother set of variances if you put that wall right, if you replace the fence with a wall. Because you're talking about 15 feet, so there are structural issues with that. And I think if you drive that street and you see where the existing landscaping is, it does a pretty good job of covering what's there on the other side with that pile. So that's why we kind of went with the landscaping, and several of the members said, hey, these types of plants are very fast growing, you know, anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 foot a year once they're established. So we were thinking that along the street would be a softer approach than all of a sudden coming down and going by the fence company and then all of a sudden having a 15-foot structure. So that was kind of we considered that, but it didn't make sense.
Other comments? Go ahead.
I do want to thank you for separating out the two issues. I think that's very important and very helpful. My kind of comments are, I was not aware of the safety issue, so thank you for bringing that up, right? We would not be aware of that if it was a zoning site visit, so we appreciate them going out to do that. That is a whole nother level of concern that maybe we didn't consider the first time around, is knowing that if that pile is taller than the fence height and is a safety concern versus a visual eyesore, those are two separate issues. I do, take issue with the visual eyesore, but I think we may have come to somewhat of a compromise with if it was screened. But unfortunately, we have to vote on what we can see, and as of right now, we can't see any screening. We have to imagine. So those are two separate issues, and I think you've properly addressed that with a potential solution. The safety concern, I think, is a completely other issue that may require some kind of addressing. Regardless of the vote tonight, I think it's really important that any kind of safety issues outside of the aesthetics of what the pile looks like are addressed in some way that's favorable. Because regardless of what we vote on or how it goes, any kind of safety issue to the public should be addressed as promptly and as long as possible to give it longevity. Because we put something there now, we want to make sure it continues to protect people from that. I do also want to mention, I brought this up because it is a very recent photo of July 2025 of the site, so folks can actually visually inspect that. Right now, that pile is probably a little, I'm not going to say any numbers, but it's a little bit taller than that fence. If you can see it from this angle, that means it's going above the fence, and that fence, as we had discussed, was maybe around 6 to 7 feet.
6 feet.
So that pile is probably at that 10 to 15 feet range already. So just folks can keep that in mind and just be aware of as much information as you can as forward. I think is helpful.
Yeah, I think if you, unfortunately, you have that little black box on the side, but if that tree continued all the way along there, like, see, I don't think you'd have that problem, because that would be the blockage, and so that's what we were suggesting. Now, to my client's credit, when the question was about some landscape, they went out in the summertime and planted a bunch of stuff in there. But what we're proposing in terms of the ongoing discussion is putting something more substantial. And I understand the maintenance issue, but if we're talking about landscaping outside the fence, that is very visible. If there's a problem with it, if something dies or something, it's very evident. And, we were asked, could you sit and put the pile somewhere else? But the property is kind of odd shaped, and so we have the parking south of the building. We've got overhead doors on the north side where the pile is, and so what we were trying to do is separate the customer from any activities dealing with the pile over here. And I have not heard any safety issues with them. I mean, I've not heard they've had any problems with that.
All right, let's see if anyone else has any comments on this matter. Anyone else? All right, one more minute if you want to add something else.
Oh, is there someone? Okay, very quickly. What I'll say is I appreciate the client doing that, and I think moving forward, what might be helpful is, I'm not going to say how people are going to feel, but if the trees were planted, it would be a completely different conversation. I think previously the commission approved the special variance for this facility, so I think there was already some grace given to you all and your client, and this might be an opportunity for that client to give us grace back, putting these trees in and then doing proper screening, whatever proper other safety may or may not need to be doing, and then potentially come back and see how people feel, whether or not that's going to move forward, and that's where I leave it.
All right.
I understand.
And any other comments? Anyone in the audience wish to speak to this matter? All right, entertain a motion to approve. Let's do the first one being the location of the scale and the variance associated with its distance from the scale and the house.
Yes.
The Wayne house, or whatever you call that.
Scale house.
What is it?
Scale house.
Scale house, all right. Location of those two things being close to the right of way. Someone make a motion on that, please.
Chris?
Second, Benson.
All in favor? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 opposed. Abstain? 1, 2. You're abstaining? All right, so that's approved. You have the vote.
Not as if two, but I have one zone, I have one variance on there, so I'm confused.
No, I know, the agenda was wrong on that. There are two.
It's two.
Well, sort of, in that the site visit vote, there were two matters voted on separately, and that's not really reflected in this agenda. The site visit minutes show both votes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so is this 079 now, or is this?
This is 079.
This is 079 we just voted on, so it's 902.
All right, so on the second matter being the height of the pile, the height of the scrap pile, and so what the proposal is to allow it to go up to 15 feet, provided they provide the screening as it's described here, and this would need to go on the recommendation form, this language. So you have that here. So that's the second motion. We need someone to move on that.
So move, Chris.
Second, Katz. Chris and Katz. All right. All in favor of that motion to allow it to go to 15 feet, provided the landscaping as proposed is part of that. In favor? I vote in favor of it. We got 3 opposed. 3, 4, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 opposed.
You guys voted in favor.
Yeah,
So you have 3, you have 3 in favor, the rest of the commission's now voting on the second half of the.
Let's vote this again. This is
Fair enough.
Who was in favor of the motion on the pile height? 1, 2, 3 opposed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 to 6 abstentions. 1, 2, 3 to 6 to 2.
Yeah.
It's 3, 6, 2.
All right, thank you
So
for
you
your
don't have
time.
our support for that. So the recommendation form is being filled out by the chair.
Yeah, it's got one. Mr. Bias is giving another form for the second variance. Same case number?
It's the same case number, but there were conclusions differences there. So he wanted to vote them separately.
Yeah, that
So
was,
therefore, most of the variances in the base, but instead of approving the base, it's separated into 2 specific bases. To say, let's find the numbers. So it gives it those pile height.
Have a good holiday.
Take care.
Oh, let me get you your.
well, you need to, you know the drill on this. We give you this form, you need to get this.
Okay,
to the
sorry,
planner.
it's just been emailed to me or whatever.
Yes.
You gotta run.
They want this or this to this one. His pass vote was 3,
6, 2.
2. So not approved. But then on this, so how do you specify it's the same case number? How do you?
We haven't done this typically.
Yeah, so if it's the same zoning or the same BZA number, I would recommend putting it on one form, but splitting it up, right? So on your notes here, I would say the vote of 902 was in favor of
We have
the.
variances if you'd like to
Correct.
specify them. Because only one of them is associated with the height of the pile, while the others are associated with the site plan itself.
So one is in favor of everything except the height.
That's right.
Okay.
That's probably the best way to do it.
You can keep going. I don't want to.
All right.
Let's
move on. The second zoning case up is 506 Miller Street.
You can get that pen.
There it is.
Were the renderings in the
So,
email? You want me to pull them up?
You want me to give you the flash drive again?
So, yeah, we want to be able to put this up.
I think it has the renderings in the height.
It does.
Yeah, okay. Well, just in case.
They got a flash drive.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure and I didn't want to leave you hanging
Yep.
if it wasn't.
All right, keep in mind, there are a few people here who have heard nothing about this before, so you've got 3 minutes, I think, 3 minutes. If it needs 4, okay. But tell us what your plan is and summarize the variances needed.
I'm here, I should just wait till they have it up so that there's people look at.
Okay.
I'll keep it in the sec.
I'm moving. Okay, there's your site plan.
That's the, go down.
That
further?
one is not helpful. There you go.
Oh,
That's
okay.
helpful.
And then I would pull up the renderings as well.
All right, so for anyone who's not seen anything about this yet, my name's Josh. I live in South of Maine. I live 2 blocks from this proposed project. So I've been here a couple of times. This is my 4th project in the neighborhood between renovations and construction. I'm an architect, and as such, I was looking for a place that I could put my practice. So I was specifically looking at South of Maine, because that's the neighborhood that I live in. I've been working to improve the area for the last 6 years. So I found a lot at Miller and Mount Street that I thought would be great for the project. It is directly across the street from the Collegiate Academy, which is that 5 through 8 middle school in the neighborhood. And we're kitty corner from a car sales shop, we'll say in quotes. So while the lot is not currently zoned for commercial use, I'm looking to have an allowable use as commercial on the ground floor of just the corner building. Where I'm hoping to put my studio. So in general, breaking the buildings up into 3 smaller buildings at the scale of the neighborhood that we would commonly see. So the corner building will be a small 3-story mixed-use Main Street style structure where there's 2 apartments on top of 3 small commercial bays on the ground floor. In total, the building is about 3,500 square feet, so about the size of a large house. Behind that, there will be 2 different duplexes, each with 2 units each. Along the alleyway, then there's space for 5 parking spaces. So that's what we have at the back there. So you can see on the Google image, which is the screen behind you guys there. So the lot today is vacant and it's next to a boarded up home and then another vacant lot. So we're really looking to start to improve the face of one of our principal corridors in the neighborhood, which Miller and Kelton are probably the most known cut-through streets in our area. So. In terms of variances, I have 1 million, mostly because I'm looking to split the lot into 3 pieces. So that does trigger a lot of them. In general, why am I splitting the lot? It is partially due to real estate finance rules. So the duplexes are considered to be residential structures. So the loans that I get in order to build the duplexes will be different than the loans I get for the Main Street style building on the corner. It will also allow me to potentially do these over time. So I'm just kind of a regular guy just getting into development. And as such, I don't really just have like $5 million or something crazy. Not that that's how much it will cost. Oh my gosh. But, so I might have to cash flow these or do these over time as it proves time available. So this rendering that you're looking at right now, those are the duplexes. Those are along Mount Street. They both face onto the street in the middle there. There's a shared sidewalk between the units, and then everyone has a little balcony or a porch if you're on the ground floor that faces onto the street. I'm going to scroll to the next rendering. That'd be awesome. Perfect. So there's the commercial building on the corner. So think Main Street style structure, again, where there's a small commercial component in the ground floor, and then 2 through floor, as in full floor apartments above it.
So the zoning committee at the site visit meeting voted unanimously in favor of this. We really liked it a lot. To the east of that furthest duplex, there's some parking off the north-south alley, and that's the only off-street parking. And so it's a little less off-street parking than we typically like to see, but we all noted when we were there that there's street parking on both streets, and there isn't a whole lot of competition for those spaces. And we felt, given the location we're talking about and how much of a upgrade this represents for that part of the neighborhood, we were pretty, that didn't worry us as much as the park. So, we're also looking at a situation there where the houses further east on Mound Street are set back further than this, but to across Miller, the property that we were looking at previously on, Google, that's set pretty close to the street, and also the building on the corner is gonna be set back roughly the same as at least the porch for the, vacant house. And so the applicant put a marker where the corner of the house was. Commissioner Kleepash, had raised the question, how close to the house is this new building gonna be? And it's not incredibly close. It's not like, you know, my house where I could reach out the bathroom window and shake hands with my neighbor. As awkward as that would be, we could actually do that because it's only 5 to 6 feet. This is more than that. And so we got comfortable with the rather slim setbacks that this does represent, simply because there is no consistent setback along Mount Street, because that's something that we do care about. So when we like the corner being cut on that building, old style, it's gonna, you know, it's pretty cool. So we're all hoping this happens. At least we work on that on Saturday morning.
I have a question.
Go
So it's not a
for it.
site visit, beautiful structure, great sign. But, there are only stop signs going east and west, not north and south. This looks so much like the structure,
The other side of
on
my house.
Ohio, where
Yeah.
they just put in stop signs, which have been very helpful, but like that building got crashed into by a car.
We've talked about it on site, so,
Okay, cool.
I filled out the slow streets plan, as a neighborhood resident, when that was posted on the Facebook page that you guys were gathering stuff for. And I've also talking to the Department of Transportation about specifically what can I do, because, we talked about when we were on site that day about repeated crashes at Miller and Cole Street, which is the on-ramp to the freeway. And 2 days later, one street up at Miller and Fulton Street, there was a collision in the front yard of the house. So we have a really hard time with speeding in the streets specifically related to the freeway. So I'm hoping for a similar improvement.
You're aware of that risk?
I am aware, unfortunately. So, I mean, I think unfortunately, buildings do start to provide a room effect if they are close to the street, which does encourage people to slow down. If there's more people parked on the street, that would encourage cars to slow down, so those might help, but, I think all of us are continuing to advocate for slower speeds in our neighborhoods, and that's just unfortunately something we have to risk as we move forward with it.
You're already taking all the right steps, I love it.
Sorry. Yeah, I would love to buy a big boulder and just put it on the corner.
One of the things that he is doing that I thought was pretty cool is right now the sidewalk goes directly up to the street, and his plan is to kind of put, the tree lawn there. And that will also be another barrier, which A is visually appealing, and two, just adds a little bit more.
Yeah, we're adding a 4-foot tree along the Miller side, so instead of having the pedestrians against the road, which is spooky if you're walking, obviously, you'll have at least that buffer for yourself.
Sacrifice a tree, then
Yeah.
if it comes to.
I will say, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Those trees that you actually see aren't even there anymore. I don't know when they cut them down. It had been last year. The only trees left on this lot are actually in between those two lots of that house. So like he wouldn't have to, might have to get rid of the other ones, but these ones aren't even there.
Yeah, we also did talk about trees, and the group of trees that's there is right about on the property line, south of where those buildings are gonna be, and a lot of that will be able to be saved.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
My current plan, I'll be planting 13 trees as part of the project.
Other commissioners have comments, questions for the applicant?
Sorry,
Yeah.
one more.
Yeah.
That I'm sure you talked about offsite. Sorry.
That's okay.
Do you know who owns the infrastructure next to it?
Yeah, we did talk about it.
We done.
He's in jail, which has been a challenge, but I have approached him about. I've at least sent a letter to the property that he's registered at about trying to do something with it. Unfortunately, the city also would not do anything about the car in the back. Their actual response is, it is not worth the paperwork. That was their response. Cause there is a vacant
is this
vehicle.
it?
No,
Oh,
there's
okay.
like a vacant Oldsmobile or something that's in the back of the property. And so I have tried to get rid of that already and they just said put up a fence, not a problem, so. I have it in my 311, so I can screenshot it and try and do more about it, but
So I'm sorry, did you send a letter to the vacant house?
the owner, and they have a,
You
they're
sent it
not,
to the
they don't live
facility.
at it.
I know.
So
you
like
sent it.
they live in Pataskala or something, is where the owner is registered. Yeah,
Okay, but that owner isn't this.
yes, their name came up as part of Franklin County's.
I would encourage you from an ethical standpoint, if you're not already, to reach out to the facility where this person is at, because.
I don't know if they, I don't know how to find that out, I
Well,
guess, but.
I guess, I have more experience in that area.
Sure,
Sorry.
yes.
I can
You wanna help?
I was gonna say, once it's just not past the auditor's website, that's where I stopped. But I mean, unfortunately, this is not uncommon. There are probably 50 boards of obstructions that are doing stuff, so it's just, is what it is sometimes. So.
All right, anyone else have any comments or questions? Anyone in the audience have anything on this? All right, motion to approve.
So moved, Wilbur.
I know where you live.
I know. Wilbur moved second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Opposed? Abstention? 1, 10, 0, 1. You have our support recommendation form. Make sure when you send that into the planner, you copy one of us, so we know that it's happened. Cool.
Deal.
Good luck.
Thanks.
That is all we have on the zoning agenda for tonight.
I have utility battles next, because turns out at some point they ripped out the sanitary sewer.
I was seriously gonna ask about.
So I have to get the public utilities extended, I guess. So it's gonna be a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it.
Alrighty,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So we're gonna move over to community engagement. Community engagement had a very, festive meeting last week, where they wrote cards to families at Nationwide Children's Hospital, which were delivered, and well received. And, items were, brought as well that I had mentioned earlier, and I did thank, Commissioner Chris, for, Woodland Park, no, Eastgate.
The little flash.
Oh, yes, Eastgate for, their plethora, abundant, amount of donations that they gave, which half have already been delivered to Legacy Point, and, Central Community House will get the rest, tonight. So again, thank you all for those efforts. The next community engagement meeting fell on January 1st, which, and none of us gonna be here on that day.
I don't have nothing to do that day.
Find something. The city building is closed. So the meeting will actually be moved to our, the day of our retreat, for a period of time, which, that retreat I did send out, I think earlier this week, will take place on Saturday, January 31st, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, going until about 2 p.m. So their meeting will take place on that day, instead of trying to scramble for another Thursday that's non-existent. Other than that, those are all of everything that has to do with community engagement. So there are no special community announcements, and we'll go to treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report is the same as it was last time. We haven't spent any money in the last month, so we still have $1,907.73 left on our account that needs to be spent by April 30th next year. And at the last meeting, a lot of ideas were thrown out there about things to spend money on, but we've not taken any action on any of those. And so I would suggest the chair should create some process by which we make some decisions about spending that additional money. We could do it now, we could do it at the retreat, your pleasure.
Yeah, I did wait for the email recommendation. I didn't get an email.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so I will accept the email recommendations going up until next Thursday, and then at the next executive meeting, we'll share our proposed budget for the retreat, along with some more recommendations towards that, and we'll get through the end of the year. All right.
I'd like to ask, is there any way you can email some of the things that we can spend the money? Like what categories?
Yeah, there's a budget PDF that we are committed to. It gives guidelines as to what you can spend money on. It should be in our shared drive folder. I'll try to get that.
And it's from the last meeting, some ideas that should be found on.
Yeah, there were ideas expressed on last meeting. I'm trying to see if they were captured, but I can go back and see.
Oh, I guess they're in the live stream, no?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they're recorded. Yeah, so there are some ideas listed with snacks and business cards, digital sign, and yeah.
I'm cool with just water.
Okay. I'll make sure you have your water come January. Okay. We have one applicant for District 4 for that vacant 3-year seat, which was former Commissioner Rob Lee's seat, which ended, but now is a full term. And that applicant is here tonight. Her name is Siobhan Thompson. Ms. Thompson, if you could join us at the table. Her information and application response was shared with you earlier this week. I hope that you all have taken the time to read so. And so I'm going to make this very quick. I will entertain any questions that you might have for Ms. Thompson, and then I'm calling for a vote. Any questions?
I have a question for the applicant. So I read your statement about what your interests were. I looked at your resume and all of it, and it's very enthusiastic. It's like, you have some, very ambitious, and exciting, desire to serve the community. There's no question about that, right? But like you sat through our meeting this evening, and you see what we do, activities are. I'm not saying that the commission is limited to the things you've seen tonight, but this is, a primary function really has been, to deal with development plans that developers have that require variances and that sort of thing. And we also had that conversation about the recreation center, for example. So my question for you is this: given what you're interested in and what your hopes are, how do you see those goals, objectives, ideas plugging into the work of the commission? Is that a fair question for you?
It is a fair question, certainly. Listen. I have lived in this community. It'll be 11 years in February. So I have seen many of the zonings. I have the $1 million home right in my back door. I appreciate the boost of my equity, yes. Not necessarily the taxes that come along with it. I am vested in this. I am vested in the Tier community, including with the Beatty Recreation Center. I too am invested in youth development. I love youth development. I am a practitioner restorative practices, as you all have read. Um, and so I feel like it goes hand in hand. So you're, in my mind, you're saying, okay, hey girl, there's a lot of zoning and a lot of business in this type of structure. You want to do things that are more or less community engagement wise.
Yes, I'm just saying yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't do that.
Keep giving it.
So for me, it is all inclusive, not just a one-sided type of we only do this here, right? So moving into the future and having seen so much change over the past almost 11 years of my residency in this community. But even before then, listen, I'm born and raised here in Columbus. Yeah, I lived on the west side on the hilltop. And so there's where I got my stakes in community. But this is community. This is home for me. And so regardless if it's going to the trenches, and I had to go talk to Josh was the guy that was just sitting here. That's my neighborhood right around the corner. And just found out he owns the green home on Fulton, which I'm on Linwood and Cole. And so I appreciate the growth and the evolution of our community. And so in time, this little girl right here, she gonna my father, when I purchased my home, he said, "You don't know what you got." And that's the truth. I didn't know what I had in 2015. Didn't know what I was purchasing. It's more than just the structure or the 4 square home. I sit on 0.27 acreage. I have land. I have something that I can pass down as a legacy to my daughter. And growing the community around it is certainly what I'm here for. Enhancing and building wellness into it, because that's what y'all read. That's what I'm here for too. It's bigger than just me. It's the youth, it's the kids, it's the old people, it's the homes, it's us.
You know, I want to be clear simply by saying, look at what the commission is doing with its time is not a statement that we couldn't do other things. The area commissions are empowered by the city code to potentially do a lot of things that we don't even touch. So if you have ideas about directions you think the commission should go expand into the neighborhood, that'd be great.
Certainly.
I just want you to understand, it's not, the fact that we have these committees is not a limiting factor of what we could get in.
I appreciate that, and I thank you so much for that. And it's good to know that we're not so rigid in our ways. So thank you. Thank you all for that.
And excuse my manners, if you'd like just to maybe introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Siobhan Thompson. Again, I am a resident of South of Maine. And listen, I've been here for, again, it'll be 11 years come February 13th is my Valentine's Day gift to myself. Okay. And so I love this neighborhood. I loved it from when I was a child and went to church at First Church of God in Wilson and Fair. And I had no intentions of staying in Columbus. I went to college in Kentucky, came back home because my sister was ill. And I have legitimately taken care of every person with the last name Thompson. And with my DNA, I'll put that in there because I don't know everybody Thompson. In my 4 square home, I remember I used to work downtown at the courthouse and I used to walk to the bus stop because, it just makes sense and not just be driving everywhere. And I used to be like, God, why you giving me this? This again, obviously before I had my daughter. This big old home. Now, yes, I understand I always wanted to move to Baltimore, Maryland and have a brownstone. Well, 43205 is the only zip code in Columbus that has something equivalent, similar, or like a brownstone. And so that was where I had to live since I had to still be here to caretake for my family. It's bigger than me, and I always say that because, again, I had no intentions on being here, but I'm sure enough here. And so I am a public employee. I am obtaining my master's in public administration from Franklin University. I will be graduating in May of 2026. I have 2 more classes left. I actually graduate this Saturday in health and wellness as a yoga teacher. And so excited about these things. I'm a mother to this little 4.5-year-old awesome mind.
You should focus on it.
She is. This is a good thing though, y'all, because it's allowing me to have a mom. But I'm excited about the opportunity to serve the community, to grow in this space. Y'all made me nervous. It's been empty for 3 years. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Somebody had it for a little bit not too long ago.
Uh-huh.
Just your mom.
Yeah, thanks.
But I'm happy to see another South of me person here. South of me as well.
Awesome.
Far from where you and Josh are.
Awesome. Certainly.
Wonderful. Are there any more questions for Ms. Thompson?
We are not as scary as that side of the room makes you feel.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think we want them to think that we scare
I was saying, you know, I didn't want to point you out or anything.
I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna say this side of the room was a little more scared than that.
They said over there.
She said just for the record.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I got cookies. I'm less scared to shoot. Well, any dietary restrictions and they were allergies.
Sorry. Just ask for mother.
Okay, well, I've got some cookies if she's allowed.
What kind of cookies?
Chocolate chip. I think I still have gluten.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Let me let the cameras and everything finish. We're almost done.
Got to prolong my meeting. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve Ms. Siobhan Thompson to become the next District 4 Commissioner, which her term would start January 1st, 2026, and will end 12/31/2028.
So,
Second. First, second.
It was moved by Commissioner Rice and seconded by Dr. Benson. All those in favor, please raise your hand indicating.
Is this gonna be unanimous?
Yeah, it's unanimous. Congratulations, Commissioner Thompson.
Mr. Thompson.
Commissioner.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yeah.
We forgot to, I mean, we're about to be done. Let me let somebody. Oh, yeah, absolutely. City council has all the money.
I'm sorry. Hey. Yeah, okay. Mr. Avaya, you had something you wanted to add?
So I was looking at the calendar, we're going to make a budget and retreat. If you are planning to schedule a session right up early when you're talking about, my apologies. With the food process, it takes about a month to get in, since the meeting's on the 8th and the retreat, excuse me, on the 31st. I want to make sure we at least have the bases covered that NEAC voted. You could vote to up to a certain amount. Obviously, you won't have to spend all that amount for food or whatever, it's kind of like a blanket statement that you approves X number of dollars for the retreat, just like we did for this month. So if we can move forward.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a food budget of $400 for the retreat.
Just go to 1,000.
No.
We use a lot less.
I'll
But
second
don't
that. Just for food.
We don't have to use them.
$400.
We're inviting the public, it's open to the public. Feed the people.
Trust me, I'm not spending $400.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, the motion's on the floor, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3. All those abstained. 1, 731. It's 731. It's been approved. And it's in tonight's minutes.
Are
Okay.
there other expenditures for the retreat that should be authorized in advance?
So, for example, I just wanted to make sure we had the food covered.
I understand that, but I'm just asking the chair.
Right, sorry, yeah. For the other stuff, so we have a key card, it's gonna use it, just the food with my process and food.
We'll hear about that later.
All right. So that means I need to give you a food request by probably next week since you are.
So I'll get more details. We have like the 4-week thing, the holidays and everything else. I'll get it.
Sounds good. Well, tonight would have been Commissioner Jill Frost's last meeting. Right now, she's in Cincinnati. But we all had this card in which we signed just to say thank you, we'll miss you, for her years of service. And I did purchase a flower arrangement from the best florist in the city, Batista Flor Galleria. And she'll arrange a time to come pick them up with you. So if we could just all say thank you, Jill, so it's recorded.
Thank you, Jill.
And next time you might see her out and about, just give her a nice little smile. Given that there are no, I saw it.
Well, sorry,
Yeah.
there are also a couple of cards that we're circulating, both with Dr. Benson and Dr. Harris. Congratulations on your new life milestones. You graduated from a leadership academy, American Male Leadership Academy.
Thank you. Thanks. Good job.
And Dr. Benson, you started a new job at a new company. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Congrats. I don't know all the details, but I said in my message, I want to know Amazon's.
I will let you know. They want me to tell the world, so we'll get to work on that.
Congrats, guys.
Well, thank you. As Scott shared earlier, it feels good to get it back. So thank you. It's been an honor serving as chair for this year. I look forward to the good things and this will continue going into 2026. If I don't see you again, I do hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season with your loved ones. And let's continue this great work that we've started this year in 2025. Let's just keep going in 2026. Looking forward to the new commissioners who will be joining us as well. We will schedule an onboarding for the new commissioners within the new year before our first body meeting so that you can understand a little bit more about protocol and procedures of how we do things. And then come January for the retreat, that is when I want to finalize what committee assignments and things like that will be. So just giving time for that to take place. But in January, continue with the same assignments that you already have. I'll just go ahead and make those assignments now for those new commissioners. You'll be on community engagement simply because that's the empty seat now. You will be on planning because that's the seat that was empty now. Or you'll be on community engagement because that's the seat that was empty now. And then Mr. Cooper, he'll be on community engagement. So those will be your assignments for January. So you will meet, of course, for general body, but then that third Thursday, you'll be at the planning and zoning meeting for that. And then I do encourage all of the districts to communicate with each other to figure out if there needs to be any changes and things like that. Definitely speak up. If you don't want to be on community engagement and be on zoning, then just have that conversation earlier, so that come the retreat time, I can make those finalizations. Even though chair has full approval to sign anybody anyway, but I'm not going to.
When is the retreat?
January 31st, starting at 10 a.m. A location, we're still trying to figure out if we can get the Fran Ryan Center.
They get an email just to see it. I'll forward it to you. We have to fill out the intake form and request form online.
Okay. So we're trying to get Fran Ryan, but if not, we have some other options in case. I'm just trying to stay in the neighborhood. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:16.
So move, Benson.
All those in favor? 11:01. Good night. Happy
Please don't
holidays.
run. Actually, we got, I was at the city's commissioner appreciation event earlier this evening. They just gave us a certificate to honor and recognize us. Just a quick picture, please. A minute of your time.
You want me to take the picture for you?
No, you're gonna be in the picture, Mr. Ohio, please.
So you went to a dinner and